Hello, and welcome to the Psychic Wave Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Sanishin, and on this episode, we had Nani and Johnny of the band Bundy. Bundy is a band, but they also have a podcast that you can find on iTunes, and you should go check it out. It's a really good podcast. Nani has been a friend of mine for a little over a year now, and he's been one of the driving forces in what keeps me motivated, because he does so many different artistic ventures, but somehow makes them cohesive, and just is one of those dudes that has something going on at all times. But it's not just something going on, it's something that he cares about, something that he puts actual work into, thought out, planned out work, which is a lot more than most people are doing. You know, most people are like, hey, I'm going to try this thing, and then I'm just going to, wing it. But not Nani. He's a serious dude when it comes to what he wants to accomplish musically, creatively. And it was great having Johnny here because I don't think Johnny's ever been to my office where we do the podcast. But I've been to his spot. He has a studio where I recorded the first episode of the Bundy podcast. And so I've been to his place, but he's never been to mine. And he came down. We had a good time. The podcast was a lot of fun. We drank some beers, and then we went over to the Continental Room. And we hung out there for a bit, did some bonding. Nani told me that I looked super stressed, which hopefully, just because he's my friend, he can tell that I'm kind of stressed. And he gave me some words of encouragement to keep going. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to try to feel better this morning than I usually do. I'm going to take some of his advice, and I just want to let him know that I love and appreciate you. I really do. And it means a lot to me that you even care enough to come out here and do this. Shout out the Bundy podcast. Again, if you haven't listened to that already, go check it out. It's so fucking good. So, my usual thing here is that I've been ranting about how badly I've been taking care of myself. You might tell that I'm congested. It's about 8:02 a.m. in the morning. It's Tuesday morning. And I think usually I would be feeling pretty shitty. But I don't know. Today's not that bad. Maybe it's because I don't have a podcast that I'm recording tonight. I actually feel like I have a mini break. But I don't know. You just got to take tiny little steps towards being better or working at whatever you want to work at. And it sounds silly, man, but I really do eat too many fucking cheeseburgers. I do. I eat too much junk. And just, avoiding one tiny little thing and making one move towards the direction you want to be in, it's fucking awesome. I feel like what I normally do is I take on like 80 things at a time. I'm like, I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to go on this weird diet thing, And when I have all those things that I'm doing at once, it just fucking crumbles. And I can't do that. So I'm trying to take it step by step and just work out these things slowly because, like I've said before, this whole lifestyle is not sustainable. I do want to be doing this 5 years from now. I do want to be in the music scene 5 years from now. I want to be involved in creative people's lives and have them be involved in mine. And I want it to be a healthy one where they can trust me. I believe people can trust me now. I don't think I've fucked anybody over. But, I want them to look at me and feel that I'm taking care of the stuff that I care about. It's a silly statement, but, I think at the very least you should be taking care of yourself. And I'm 24. Sometimes it's hard to take care of myself. Sometimes I make the wrong decisions, And I'm just not so down about it today. And maybe it's Nani's encouraging words yesterday, but I feel all right. So I'm going to get this podcast up. I'm going to work my fucking ass off today. And then I'm going to enjoy my my night, Who knows? I got a night off. I'm not doing a podcast tonight. It's kind of what I need. I've been doing one every day, kind of, so I'm doing them every other day this month, and it's what I need. It's good for me. Anyway, Hope you enjoy this podcast. It's three friends talking. Shout out to Tess for taking pictures and video during the podcast. I really appreciate it. And here you go. Enjoy the podcast. Hey.
What's up?
What's up?
What up?
We're not starting the podcast now, though, right?
Yeah, we're starting now.
Can I say something before we start?
Yeah.
Your hair is so long and luxurious.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Your
it's getting
hair
long.
is shorter and bluer.
I'm trying to grow it out.
But I feel like you cut it.
I cut it a while ago
Oh.
because it gets to a certain point where it's like just awkward and weird. So
the growth process.
yeah, and I got fed up of the awkward part, so I cut it down. But now I'm trying to grow it out again. So I got to live through it.
Let's scoot that mic that way. Yeah.
Damn, no bleeds,
No. What?
no Mac bleeding. Like that mic's gonna pick up me. And
Oh,
that
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing.
Maybe.
So, Nani,
That's me.
Johnny
You will.
of Bundy.
Whoa, Bundy.
Are you sleepy? You tired? You had a
Mm-mm.
big day? You had a big lunch?
Uh-uh.
Did you eat like 20 cheeseburgers?
No, I actually told myself I'm not going to eat any cheeseburgers this month.
Are you on a health kick?
No, I'm
Just
just on a
cheeseburgers.
less bad kick.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was trying to decide, should I stop smoking cigarettes? Should I not drink beer? I
Just
was like,
burgers, though.
I'm like, well, stop burgers. There's a lot of burgers.
Take it one thing at a time.
Yeah, one thing.
So,
at a time.
technically, that's right. You're not eating a million burgers. That's a million different vices that you're not consuming.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I have not been making good choices
Yeah.
lately with...
Because you've been working so hard.
Mm,
Because you've been playing so hard. Because you complain so hard.
I don't know what it is, dude. It's just like, now that I am busier, I
Yeah.
think I have like more things that are stressing me out.
Sure.
So then I'm letting the things that like can right now slip by. I'm letting them slip by.
Mhm.
But then those things are also piling up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll catch
Recurring.
Johnny,
up.
what's that
Stressful
called? We
shit.
talked about this earlier.
Prioritizing.
It's called being an adult, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
You don't have time for anything anymore. And
You're
it's just gonna-
you're
it's gonna
young.
ramp
You're
up.
young.
Yeah, but the alcohol consumption has been getting weird for me.
Like
it's-
more so, or
Just I've been making worse decisions on alcohol
yeah,
than I
that
normally
usually
would.
connects. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's part of it.
It might even be the same amount of alcohol I've been drinking, but now it's like I'm going on rants in front of people,
Oh, okay.
and
Like what? Go on one now.
no,
I
Not
think
enough alcohol
that's
for that.
definitely something that I went through when I was your age, man. I got fucked up for a long time.
yeah, I don't like it.
Good. We'll get used to not
Yeah.
liking it for a while.
I'm 34 now, and it hurts a lot, but I still do it.
Yeah.
But it just hurts more.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I'm 34, I still do it. It just hurts more.
No.
Dedication, man. What most porn stars they get out of the game at like 25, 27.
They're
I think
numb to
that
it.
their prime season's done. I guess. by then.
They're numb to the pain at
Yeah.
some point. I
It's like
guess.
being an athlete. It's like, oh, you're too old for this. Unless you're a star, that you can be in the game as long as you can.
Do you have to put your vagina in an ice bath after? Do you think?
I'm pretty sure sometimes,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Like you've got to like take care of it. I know lots of them get like surgery to reshape and give it a brand new
that's
smile.
Yeah.
you know?
A what?
A brand new smile.
A brand new
Yeah.
smile. Sure. A new coat of paint.
Or whispering eye, right?
What is that?
That's from a
That's from a movie, yeah.
Role Models.
Role Models, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's a little gem.
That's pretty dated reference, I think.
You saying I'm old? Yeah.
I feel like
No.
at a certain point, like just sex would no longer be fun. You know what I mean?
No, it's all right. It's a nice ride.
As a porn star,
Like, yeah, but think
because
about
it's a
it.
business.
Right. If somebody told you like your job was to make whatever song somebody wanted for that day,
Yeah,
you would
you'd be
eventually
tired of
not want to
making
want.
music.
Mhm.
Right.
You're not gonna want to write
Yeah, that
music.
makes sense. I could see that.
Yeah.
Well,
Plus, is it as fun if everyone wants to fuck you? Like, somebody sees you on the street, you're like famous.
uh-huh.
So there's not that like new attraction anymore. It's just everyone wants to fuck you. There's no like
Sure.
playing around, no flirting. It's just
Yeah.
they want to have sex with you.
Sure. Yeah. I guess at that point you're looking for that hidden gem of someone who's like, you don't know who I am? Very cool.
Yeah, and then they find out and they're like,
oh,
okay.
snap.
yeah.
Never let them have internet then.
Yeah.
Take away their phone.
Just go to like a third world country. It's like you never seen anything on the internet, right? Like
That's
Yeah.
all they got is porn.
yeah.
What? Third world countries?
Mm-hmm.
That third world countries are porn for
Other rich people.
other rich people.
They mine their poverty,
Yeah.
fucking the shit out of them to gain. I don't know, trying
Go
to make
on.
some kind of
No,
connection.
keep
for you.
going.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
So I've got Bundy, the band, on the podcast.
Yeah.
And not only is it a band, it's also a podcast.
I ripped you off.
No,
yeah.
you didn't.
No, I did. But I love it. It's a lot of fun.
It's like, so you're the butthole because you're in Long Beach, and I'm the
Yeah.
vagina
uh-huh.
because I'm
Wait,
more north.
why is because it's more north?
Yeah.
So am I the tank?
Do you know where the vagina rests from the butthole?
2 inches.
I mean, I'm thinking we're
I'm just saying.
leaning back here.
If you're saying it's north, right, from the butthole, that means that it's on the small of your back.
No, north that way.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say around the curve. You're just around the bend. How about that?
Around the bend. We'll
Right.
go around.
you
I
just,
wanted-
went around the pole.
We have different districts.
I was just trying to make it where you're the asshole.
Hey, the Earth is
right.
flat.
No, yeah. But you're a pussy, so. Oh, you started it.
And you're an asshole then.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. Anyway, so yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing that podcast because
Yeah.
you know, I came on your podcast and I was like, it was so much fun, but I don't want to come on your podcast every night. You know,
Right.
I want to
'cause
do my.
You've been
you
on
know.
almost 5 times now,
Yeah.
I think. Or wait.
No, see, we did one, and then we did a second one, and then we've tried to do a third one, but then we couldn't accomplish it because remember Louis came
I know.
and we got too drunk.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, this is
He
my
was
first
passed
time
out-
here.
He was passed out on the
Yeah.
floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Louis just came randomly. with
Louis
me.
always pass out everywhere.
That's true.
I've seen him.
No matter what
so.
party you're at, he'll pass out.
Even when we were recording the album, like he passed out on the
He-
couch.
yeah.
Like
He
a
would
bunch
just
of
come
times.
over just to hang out and he'd be passed out.
Yeah.
He drinks a lot, like all day, so he needs a nap.
And he's a kid, right?
Yeah. But
I
he's-
would be tired just thinking
yeah,
about
yeah.
having a
No,
kid.
I was gonna say he's very responsible with his child.
No, I'm sure, but having a kid just seems like a lingering thought in the back that just always gives you stress.
Yeah. He's one of those parents that loves to bring up the fact that he's a parent. So thanks for
Probably
thanks
why
for
I
bringing
know.
it up for him.
That's probably why I know.
Mhm.
Yeah, you brought it up in spirit.
Is he not going to be in Britain's Finest anymore?
He's in Britain's Finest, but he's also in Fab Four, and he's also in Fellow Robot.
Right.
So-
But I thought I saw a video of him, like somebody else on the drums for Britain's Finest.
No, I think that was just like a friend of theirs jumping in, jamming with them.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think it was anything serious.
Oh, because he
So.
said, like, I'm out of the band. But now
He's-
it's probably
he's
just
joking.
a joke.
He was
Okay.
messing, yeah.
Got it.
So all you Britain's Finest fans out there, relax. The two that I know of. Louis being one of them. He's a big fan of himself.
He was very proud of his accomplishments, which is great.
No, yeah, it's great what he's been doing. Like,
Yeah.
who else gets to tour the world playing in a band,
He makes a lot of money doing
regardless
that
of
too.
whether or not he has to
is
put on a
good.
fake nose and chin? You know.
There's, at a certain point, money-wise, I will put on a wig
Yeah.
and some prosthetics.
Yeah, totally.
Is that right?
I mean, if you get to play Beatles songs all the time,
Those guys from
then-
Fab Four, they're making like $1 million, like a year, for sure.
Is that like the premiere one?
Yeah,
Fab
that's
Four?
like the big one, or one of the
Mm.
big ones,
Mm.
as far as I know.
$1 million, like together or each?
No, like each of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fuck.
Yeah, they're playing like huge shows. So
Could you imagine getting to a point where like you're so famous that another cover band of you
No,
is
it'd be
making
weird.
$1 million?
it'd be super weird.
I mean, I remember there was like these tribute bands. Like, remember Wild Child, which is like the Doors cover band, and then everyone looks exactly like their characters. Yeah.
No,
Uh,
I don't know.
But I
There's-
mean, it's like
What was that? Femme Zeppelin or some shit? What is that?
Oh, yeah.
they got a bunch of
Led Zepp again.
Yeah,
Led
yeah,
Zeppelin, yeah.
exactly.
That one's at the Santa Ana.
You gotta
swap
have
meet.
like a twist though sometimes, right? So like you gotta be like gay Zeppelin or something.
Gay Zeppelin.
Yeah.
No, those are. I think those are kind of gimmicky then.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
there's a market for them.
right.
Who you can see a Led Zeppelin cover band any day of the week, but you can't see a gay one every day of the week. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine seeing
Yeah.
like a straight Bowie band because Bowie's like,
Dave Bowie.
Sometimes,
Dave Bowie.
sometimes you would.
what's David Bowie's real name?
It is David Bowie. I have no idea.
Bowie's not anywhere in
No.
his name. Bowie was a given,
No, I know,
or
I'm
not
joking.
a given name.
I don't know what his
Stage.
name is.
Fuck.
Someone's yelling at you saying, "It's this."
I know. I literally have a David Bowie book right there that I've
You idiot.
only stared at when I'm taking a shit.
Yeah. Someone told me to read "Get in the Van." Henry Rollins.
Henry Rollins.
Oh, that dude's crazy.
Yeah, it's like his memoirs of like being on the road and stuff. And I forgot who told me to read that. One of the guys who came on the podcast, but I need to get a copy of that. So I go on Amazon,
Mhm.
and they are doing this new thing where you can't buy a book version of that book, and a lot of other books too. You can only buy the digital version, and if you want to buy the book version, you have to pay like a shit ton because they're
to
used,
get it
like
printed.
a used copy
Oh.
print. They're trying to phase out books on Amazon, is what I'm saying.
Save the
Really?
trees, man.
Yeah, well, save the trees maybe, but also like people still want books. I
Yeah.
think.
I have
I'm the opposite with that. I don't like digital stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to
For books.
Right, because it's like I have like the comic strip of Danzig and Henry Rollins, you know, and they
That's
have
funny.
a van. It's just funny, cute, and whatever it is. But you can't replicate that on an iPad, you know.
Well, if you get the audiobook, so Henry Rollins is actually reading it, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just want to take it off the fucking screen or the headphones and read a book. Like I feel
Right.
like having an analog personal experience with that, you can't fucking fake that funk. I don't
Right.
think.
It's funny, like, I had a few books, and I used to like try to keep them really pristine, like just paperbacks, which is hard to keep them pristine anyway if you actually read them. And I let Tess borrow one of my books, and she like immediately when she got to a certain point, like bent it over and folded it. You know what I mean? And I had a hard time with that
You get a little
at
crease
first.
in there.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I
She dog
realized
earing it
later
too?
on, huh?
She dog ear in the pages too.
No, not that. That's
Yeah.
pretty bad. She doesn't do that. But then later on, I realized after I finished just a random book that I really loved, looking at it and seeing it all bent up and shit, it like
They give it character.
it
'Cause
like
you went
made
through that
me
experience with the book.
It was
Totally.
but you can't get that from like maybe my iPad's gonna get more scratched after I drop it a few times, but it's not the same as like. And I like actually highlighting and circling and writing notes in books now.
You ever try highlighting your iPad?
Can you do that?
Yeah. You just
You
get a
get a highlighter
yeah,
and you
right
just
on your
write
iPad.
on the screen.
And as you're scrolling up, the highlighter will
Yeah.
stay in the same position.
It's a lot of new things I didn't know I highlighted.
Yeah, no, don't like that.
Yeah.
So, I heard you integrate Johnny more into your podcast, the Bundy podcast.
He was
You
on
were-
one.
I was on one, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of just throwing in little tidbits.
I think you said
there,
like 2 things on that podcast.
basically.
That was the like stoner metal or stoner rock guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Zodiac Rippers.
Zodiac
Zodiac
Rippers,
Rippers.
yeah. I want to get the band on the podcast as much as I can, but like I think Johnny is probably one of the most talkative guys in the band. Like JB, our bass player, he like doesn't talk at all.
Right.
Like he actually was on another one with his friend, but he went like, "Yeah. Cool." Like that's all he said,
Mm.
He had like 2 sentences the whole time. But,
Yeah.
yeah. But I want to get these guys on there because it is Bundy the podcast. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should jump into it. How was the first month?
I am so exhausted.
Yeah.
I wake up every day after the podcast hungover.
Mm.
I get up at 7 in the morning and I edit. I get it out before I go to work. So like by
Oh.
9 o'clock, it's up on iTunes or whatever.
It's
Right.
been a month, really.
It's been about a month,
Yeah.
sure.
It feels like it's been longer than that.
It feels like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exhausting,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna stop. If anything, it's actually I'm feel even more motivated to like keep going. You know what I mean? And I know you're talking about how like exhausted you are because you're doing that same thing. You're like
Yeah.
booking a month out and you're drinking and hanging out
Yeah.
and stuff. But I love it. I
I-
love it.
The drinking became a problem for me because it was like I had 3 back to back, and it was just like
Yeah.
you're hanging out with bands.
Well, if you know
and
your
bands
yeah.
get fucked up.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I like that as
Yeah.
well. So
How good are you at being hungover?
I accomplish everything that I have to do
Yeah.
the next day, but it's more of like I'm starting to get like just horrible thoughts throughout the whole day, like just straight up just depressed about everything, negative
yeah.
about everything,
Sure.
stressed about everything, anxiety where I don't need to have it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I can notice it. I'm just like, wow, I don't have these thoughts when I'm not hungover.
Yeah, yeah. Me
That's
too,
like
man.
a normal day for me.
That's
though.
me. That's me every day. And maybe it is a lot of it is probably drinking, but it's also living in a city, having fucking 4 walls smashing down on you at all times, having cars, and you're lucky enough to live in Fullerton where there's a little more space on the road. But in
Yeah,
Long Beach,
there's-
like you're driving so close to other drivers, and there's people everywhere. No matter where you go, there's cracks. You can't even walk on the sidewalk.
Even trying to find parking can demoralize
No,
you.
it's like 45 minutes, and then I end
Oh.
up parking back at the studio and taking a fucking Uber because there's nothing to do. But drinking. So back to drinking. I definitely know how to be hungover now. So like I get not just from the podcast, just from years of drinking and being an adult and playing in bands and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So every night you go out to a show and you drink a lot, and then you wake up the next morning, you have to go to work. You just get used to it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I just don't want to get used to it. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather when I think back about it, I'm like, yeah, I had a really good time but there's also so many negative things that happen.
Sure.
Or just negative thoughts like, oh, did I act like a dumbass last night?
Yeah.
And then I wonder, like, I probably didn't need to buy shots for everybody.
Yeah.
Probably didn't need to do that.
There is such a thing as like knowing your limits, right?
Right.
So don't get too fucking shit-faced every night.
No. But it's still just like, I think what it is too, like, you're drinking every single night, but having a podcast is like you're hosting new people every day.
I like to say that you're inviting people, your strangers, to party with you every night that you do it. Totally. And I'm sure you've had guests that like don't really drink that much though, right?
Yeah. The guy I had Newton or not.
Yeah.
Newton,
He doesn't drink at all.
Well, he's 20.
Yeah.
Not that,
not that
20-year-olds
should
don't
stop
drink,
him,
but
he just doesn't want to drink.
right.
Yeah.
Well, when he got here too, I was like,
Can I have one, by the way?
this dude looks young, like
Yeah.
super young.
Like you were saying on the podcast, the Newton's podcast on your fucking show. Sorry, brain. Keep going. He's amazing. He's 20 years old, and he's got so much fucking drive.
Were you able to listen to it?
I did, but not through the iTunes. I listened to it through your website, actually, because you can go to the Psychic Wave website. There's a podcast drop down.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I did it through there, and but yeah, the kid has the motivation that I wish I had at his age. And I was just telling Johnny in the car, when I was 20, I wish that I was willing to fail.
Yeah. Well, he's so silly too, and he like goes on these like adventure things with his friends. Like, he has like Nerf guns in his car because him and his friends are like.
Because they're nerds.
I know, but there's this like, it's so silly and like willful.
You don't do silly things?
I do, but not in that way. It's so like willful of life. Like I don't think he thinks about things in negative ways at all. I think he's just like, this is a new opportunity.
Sure.
Which I'm not there.
I think that maybe it's just me, but I am obviously very angry. I have anxiety. I have a lot of things that I deal with every day, and I try to find little fucking dumb ways to deal with it. So I go out of my way to like have a joke on me at all times. You know what I mean? Like today, this week's joke is this fucking. It looks like a butterfly knife or whatever they call them, but it's not. It's a comb.
Switchblade, yeah.
It's a switchblade comb, and the reason I bought this is I went
to
nice
one though.
It's a nice one. I went to Big
It
Brother
has
this
like
weekend.
a pseudo ivory like
The handle
and
yeah,
everything,
it's nice, and I bought it because I saw it and I went, you know what, this is ridiculous. I need to have this in my
This is
life to make
ridiculous.
myself feel better,
Yeah.
like to just have a little bit of joy.
Yeah.
And I pull it out all the time, and I'm like, that was stupid. You know what I mean? And I comb my beard like a creep. I comb my beard because I feel like making a joke to lighten it up a little bit, lighten up the mood.
I know exactly what you mean. Like I decided against it because I opted to buy these, and we'll not get into the specifics of that. But I was at Target and I was gonna get a hat that said "#1 Dad."
Yeah,
And I was
stuff like that. You should do that.
I was like, that's it. I'm gonna wear it all the time.
Yeah.
But then I thought these were better investments. So,
That's
but
true.
I'm definitely always looking out for things to like
right.
stand out, but also be stupid.
They don't have
You
to
know what I
cost
mean?
money.
Because I do. No, they don't have to.
Because I went to this retreat one time, and we had Chipotle, whatever, and I had one of those 25-cent coin capsule things that I bought. It was like a stupid balloon, like little things like that, right? So I bought a balloon because I thought it'd be fun.
Wait.
You know those?
20-cent
You put a
coin
quarter in there and you turn the thing, and a little toy comes out.
Yeah.
So I bought one. It was a
Oh,
little
yeah.
balloon. It was like a snake balloon, and I thought, oh, that was fun for like 2 seconds. Then I got over it. But then I kept the fucking capsule thing. So we're eating Chipotle, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be stupid. I took a piece of corn, I put it in that little capsule thing, and I said, I'm gonna save this for later. And I told everyone, hey, you guys want some corn later? I got you, and I put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
Now 2 days later,
Tupperware.
still at the fucking retreat, I pull that shit out. Who's hungry? Stupid, dumb things like that make you feel better.
Yeah.
I guess.
You have to surround yourself with people that
Yeah.
are willing to be that way. Though,
Yeah, as long-
because you can't
Yeah.
like you would get fired from a lot of jobs for doing that.
For pulling out a piece of corn?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
on,
They would look at you like an idiot.
No, you know
They would
that
no
was,
longer
that was
trust-
basically a corny joke.
He's right. That was great. That was a good one. But no, so like,
How did we not think of that,
it's,
Johnny?
I think that goes back to not caring about what people think about you necessarily. Like, do things
Yeah.
that make you happy. You know.
Yeah, but I also at the same time crave attention.
Sure.
So it's like I don't want to care about what people think about me, but I also want attention a lot, like
Find a
more than I
balance.
think maybe the average person craves it.
Okay. How bad do you want attention?
I have a podcast where I talk for hours. There's hours and hours of me talking on the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you? I mean,
I mean, I don't think that's like desperate for attention, though.
No,
It's like
no,
a creative outlet.
Right. It's if I wasn't doing it, I would have a lot more stress in my life. But I like being the center
Don't
of
you see
attention
the
sometimes.
reward of having strangers come in and getting to know them, having a good, real like conversation, and then that shit doesn't stop when the fucking TV or when the thing turns off. You're
Yeah.
continuing afterwards.
Yeah.
You hang out for a few hours. Even like that Bela Lugosi guy, you went to the fucking bar with him. You partied
Yeah, that
all
was
night.
so fun.
You're making
That
real
guy was really
connections
nice.
that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't miss those connections. Those are what's important.
No, and I have a lot of fun doing that kind of stuff, as well. So it's I like being inclusive with everyone, and I like everyone being inclusive with me. You know what I mean? So
So you
have
keep the door open when you poop.
that I don't do.
Oh.
I like my privacy,
Boo.
but
LBJ.
But
used to do
when
that.
I jack off, I leave the door open.
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for hopefully someone will walk in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Louis C.K. method. Too soon?
Yeah. No, it's not.
No.
It
That,
happened.
that was the right amount of time to make that joke.
I waited. I had that joke. I wrote that a year ago.
You know
I was
how
waiting for
it's the right time to make that joke? I forgot about it till you brought it up.
All right.
Exactly.
If it's
yeah.
still on everyone's mind, it's like, come on.
Well, how long did you wait to make that role models joke? Since
I just-
2004, I think.
Shoot, when was that movie?
I don't know. It was-
that
that
was
was
a
a
while
while
back.
It was a while
Yeah.
ago. At least 10 years, I would say.
I would say it came out like 2007. for
Probably.
sure.
Just shows how old I am, I guess.
Yeah. Paul
You know-
Rudd. Ooh.
Yeah. I love Paul Rudd,
Rudd.
dude.
That guy's never aged.
Not really.
No.
He gets.
What
He
was-
gets.
He's like 60 years old now. And he still
Yeah.
looks like he's like 35.
Sometimes he gets
like,
bigger.
yeah.
And sometimes he gets smaller.
He gets dad
but
weight.
he never ages.
Yeah.
He gets dad weight sometimes a little bit.
Oh, I
He
meant.
looks more
I
like
was
dad.
making an Ant-Man reference.
Yeah.
Oh.
Flew over my head.
Yeah, it's too new. That reference is too new.
I saw that movie and it was surprisingly fucking awesome.
I like that movie.
The part where he's like falling further and further into just
Oh,
like
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's
mental,
yeah.
like
atomic.
I
level,
was
yeah.
like, holy shit, this is a legit psychedelic experience.
yeah.
I feel like I'm tripping DMT right now. It was
Yeah,
done
yeah.
so well.
What happens
Dude.
at the end of that? At the end of when he gets smaller and smaller, what happens?
I think he last
does
minute
he
saves
does
himself.
The enlarger thing. He reverses the effect.
Yeah, he
okay.
figures something out on some
Yeah.
gadget. And it
Man, you know what I
goes
was really
backwards.
hoping,
But
'cause I don't
that
remember?
shit gave me legit anxiety.
Mhm.
I was like, how small can you go?
Mm-hmm. You know what I was hoping that what would happen,
Mhm.
and not thinking about it now, is that he would get smaller and smaller and smaller until he entered a new universe.
New universe. Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Well, it was like fractal type stuff where he was just
Mhm.
Yeah,
eventually everything is relative. So
Right. Well, just talking in
Important
terms
here's
of
a
like
who bullshit.
terms of space when you think about molecules, right? So like under the atom is the string theory, right? They say that, but beyond looking into an atom, there's strings that compose the universe or whatever.
Mm.
And so what's beyond the strings, right? So like, what if he kept going past that and past that and past
Right.
until he came into a new universe and it was just like a repeat of dimensions or whatever?
Right.
That'd be amazing.
I always thought about it like when we were learning about like the atom, electrons, neutrons. I was like, yeah, that looks like the solar system.
Oh, because they revolve around each other.
Yeah,
kind of
it's
thing?
just like
Yeah.
so we're just.
I think it's still
smaller.
all based on the same laws of physics. So
We probably sound like such dumbasses.
Oh, we're
right
Yeah.
definitely dumbasses.
But-
a science,
you know what I
like
mean?
someone who's actually has scientific knowledge, is like these morons.
yeah.
now.
What do you
Right, but it
Yeah.
the our solar system or the sun to me would be like the nucleus.
Sure.
And
yeah.
everything else is the electrons, and just it seems slow to us, but that's relative to our position.
right.
And size. Yeah.
See, I like to say that is very possible that it's the same kind of like moon and thing revolving around each other. But I also feel like is the model that a model of an atom, is that actually what an atom looks like,
I
or
get
is
what
that
you're
just
saying.
how they represent
That's
it?
a representation. Of
Right,
it.
because a chemical, it's not like boop 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 boop. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like
And
well-
they say that like also like in diagrams the electrons are going in perfect circles, but electrons are like but they're
Sure.
just like caught in gravity's.
Okay.
It's based off of like whatever their magnetic charges are. So it's like your positive and negatives. Like the number that creates
Right.
your.
yeah, I'm just saying the model isn't representative of what it actually looks like.
Right.
You know.
No,
so.
no.
Right.
The model is just basically an easy representation of like how many protons and neutrons.
Have you ever seen a Carl's
and electrons?
Jr. cheeseburger modeled on a commercial? Looks nothing
Oh
like
yeah,
a real
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Carl's
Looks
Jr.
nothing.
cheeseburgers look like they literally go slap.
Yeah.
And like just put it in.
Yeah, I think they actually do wrap it up and then just crush it a little bit out of spite. Like,
They are more crushed than other. Like I feel like the heat in the bag just like.
that's
just
possible.
moistens
I
it.
was thinking it was more like, fuck, I work at Carl's Jr. Fuck this burger, and he
Dude,
smashes it.
I
Fuck
was-
this next. This next.
Yeah,
guy,
yeah, yeah.
I was there like 2 days ago or something, and this guy like. I always say please and thank you, whatever. It's just, why not? You know, the easiest thing to do. So, you know, I'm saying, hey, how's it going? I give him my card. Dude's just like staring at me, like mean mugging me, not acknowledging that I'm
This
saying
is the
anything.
cashier?
The guy that's taking my money in the drive-through window. Yeah. And I'm just like, immediately I go, dick, like in my head, you know?
Oh, I thought you said it.
No. But then I'm just thinking like, yeah, this guy works at Carl's Jr. But then I'm thinking it's mean that I'm thinking that about this guy's job because we need this.
You're going through a journey.
I'm
here.
just going through always. My
Yeah,
brain's moving too fast. But then at the very end, like he hasn't acknowledged me at all, and he turns to me and he goes, "I'm sorry, it's been a really busy day, and this is my first day here, and it's hard for me to like talk to people and do this at the same time. Have a nice day." And I'm like,
whoa.
You just had that much context. Yeah.
His soul was crushed day one.
but he like, I think he could tell looking at me that I was like,
What the hell?
yeah, like, come on, dude, just be
Oh, yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And he was just like, I'm in over my head.
Right,
and he was like straight up a gangbanger looking dude. And then he's just like turns to this like puppy side of him where he's like, I need help. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I'm just an asshole.
Yeah. Have you gone back since?
No, I'm trying not to eat cheeseburgers.
That's right.
trying.
That's right. That was the moment. That was the moment that your life changed when you saw that guy staring into your soul.
No, it's just I've been, you know, it might have aided to it for sure, but there's just been a lot. There's been a lot.
It's been a month since we started.
Yep.
And
Bundy podcast.
I feel like I've seen nothing but benefit from it. You know.
That's exactly how I felt when
Yeah.
I started. Well, once I made it slightly more professional.
Yeah.
When I took it from a couch to here.
Ooh.
And
To-
you have like a nice studio space to do it in, so
It's on a couch still.
I know, but it's set up to look like this is where a podcast would happen.
You know
what
our
I mean?
studio. The way we do it is I sit on the cab of an amp, and then they sit on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I just set up a couple of mics. Like we don't have a table.
Yeah,
I
but
don't do
there's
anything
a
like
cool
that.
factor to that. This is a place where things are recorded. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Oh, I see what you're saying.
a creative space.
Yeah. Well, see, you do it a different way. You have a set, which is nice.
It helps.
Yeah.
It makes me
This, I mean,
relax.
this looks like a legitimate podcast.
This looks like I'm on
yeah.
a real podcast. Yeah. So it's great.
But you don't have the visual aspect to yours, so who gives a shit?
You're right. I don't film it at all.
Yours is audio.
Which I don't know if I would probably never want to do that unless someone did it for me.
I love the fact that you're just doing audio because I forget how much more fun it is for me to use my imagination. It's like being blindfolded around a bunch of your friends, and
Yeah.
you're like they're all telling
I will
jokes.
never be blindfolded.
Okay,
around my
that
friends.
is a very bad premise.
Yes.
You should not do that. But like, what I mean is sometimes you don't expect like a joke to come in because you can't see somebody's face like building up to like say something.
That's true.
And all of a sudden you just get hit with this like
Yeah.
hilarious thing.
You can hear a smile though.
You can. But that's what I mean. It's left to your imagination. It's like reading a book almost.
Yeah.
But because it's audio only, there's something
That was my exact thought when I didn't do video. I didn't because I'm lazy. I don't want to do video. It's too much work.
It takes a lot to do it, but if your audio quality is good, then who gives a shit if you don't have video?
Right. Are you gonna do multicam anytime soon?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think about it?
Yeah, for sure. I
Okay.
mean, that's like the next thing is 2 more mics and then 1 more camera. Start there.
Yeah.
Get used to the production of it, editing, all that. Get
Yeah.
used to it for a while.
Finally streamlined.
Build an
Yeah.
empire.
Build an empire, yeah.
I can't wait till
Psychic wave empire.
I can't wait till I come to your studio and you got a float tank in the back. You know what I mean?
Dude, it was so funny. Who was I listening to? Oh, Kevin Smith was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, I heard that one. Yeah,
And he was like, dude, you, like, this whole place, this
was
playground
built by your voice.
was built by your mouth.
Yeah, by your mouth, right? Yeah.
And he was just like, you just said shit. Your comedy, you just say shit.
Yeah.
Your podcast, you just say shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And it gave you money.
Yeah.
Now, he got in early, and he has a
Yeah.
really great podcast.
Totally.
So that's a whole different thing.
Well, they were talking about it, and he
But-
said Joe Rogan started doing podcasting in 2010 or something like that. 2009, 2010.
I felt
Is that
like
right?
it was way longer ago.
Maybe?
but-
Oh, no,
Because
it's Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith came in 2010.
Like,
'Cause he
that
came in-
seems right.
Yeah, because
that
he
was
came in
like
after.
Comic Book Man started coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, because I remember Joe Rogan, he was doing stand up. And that's when, like, I mean, I saw him in news radio back then. And then he started doing Fear Factor. And then he started doing stand up. And then when I saw him do stand up, he talked about Fear Factor and how because I thought it was just like so
gimmick.
yeah, a gimmick, and it was so lame at the time. And then he talked about it's like, well, it's either do that or just be at home jerking off all day.
Yeah.
And it's like I totally get it, and it made me respect him that much more. And then he got kind of more into the crazy conspiracy stuff as well. But I mean,
He
that's still
fluctuates
interesting for that.
in and out of a bunch of different stuff. It's like hunting, drugs, conspiracy theory,
Dude shit.
health.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he just seems like one of those
What-
guys that really craves being uncomfortable.
You've already done that. This podcast. We talked about your health. We talked about aliens, not aliens, micro space. I don't know.
Microspace.
Universes.
Space.
Yeah.
We talked about Carl's Jr. and a man staring into your soul.
And float tanks.
I think we're covering a lot of bases here. So let's go into religion. What do you like? The Cubs?
My religion?
Yeah.
Beer.
Yeah. No, but you're fighting back against your religion. You don't want a beer.
No.
You
I
don't-
mean, you gotta rebel every once in a while
Yeah.
against yourself. But yeah, I mean,
I'll go to your church.
I
if
feel
it's
like
beer.
so many people have podcasts now. Like, I'm not even just saying that because you just
No, it's
started
true.
one.
It's
but
absolutely
like,
true.
you look up anything, there's podcasts of everything. If you look up psychic when you're looking for psychic wave podcasts,
Yeah.
there are so many
Cleos.
psychic podcasts.
Yeah.
Just like, what do you mean by Cleo? What is that?
Cleo is like this, I think it's like Jamaican lady who used to
Jamaican
do psychic readings on
She used to
people.
have
I do.
advertisements on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know who that is.
She was
but
like,
This is
call
way
Miss
before-
Cleo
yeah.
for the
Yeah.
She had
Oh.
a really strong Jamaican accent. This is classic.
This
Yeah.
is funny.
Classic psychic
You guys are
shit that
gonna
you
have to
should
show me.
know.
No, but the funny thing is, that was brought up to me before, where they're like, "So are you like related to like psychic healing power stuff?" And I'm like, "No, that's
Yeah.
not what I do." But my point was, you look up just psychic, and there's like a million podcasts with the word psychic in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that it's I'm pissed that I'm saying so much because that's a podcast cliche. of
I know
mine.
though.
You do know
I
though.
do know.
But it's in a different place than it was like when Joe Rogan started podcast. So I don't think that it could lead to his route for me. But what
Uh-huh.
it is doing for me is like people walk in here and I get T-shirt orders because they come in through the
Yeah,
garage and I run a screen printing business. And then they see that it looks semi-professional, so they trust me a little bit more. It's like
Right.
They
it-
take you more seriously. Yeah.
they take me more seriously, and
Yeah.
it's fun for me.
Instead of just being on your couch, like
I-
you were saying.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
do you understand this too? Back in the day when podcast Joe Rogan first coming out, everyone was like, "What's a podcast?" And now we're at a time when everyone knows what a podcast is, and everyone's willing to listen to a podcast, or at least willing to
Starting to give
the
them a
idea of
chance.
a podcast a chance, right?
Right.
Well, not even give them a chance. It's a huge market now. But I'm saying back then, when people told me, "Have you heard what a podcast is?" I was like, "What? People just talk?
Yeah.
People just talk about stuff? That's fucking lame. Why would I want to listen to that?"
My dad was listening to the Adam Carolla show, like, 10 years ago or something.
Yeah. It was
And
great.
I was like, so what is, because he gave me an old iPod he had or something, like when iPods first came out, and he had the audio on there. And it came on after a song of mine. It was still on there. And I'm like, I saw it was like 2 hours. And I'm like, is my dad insane? He's just listening to people talk
Yeah.
about
just rant.
random
Yeah.
stuff. But that was like 14, so like 10 years
Yeah.
ago for me, and I don't know why, but what was the first podcast you guys listened to? And I don't even know the reason why I stuck with it, but all of a sudden you hear one interesting one,
Yeah.
and you start digging and finding
Yeah.
more.
I first started listening to Radiolab.
Radiolab's a good one, yeah.
Fucking interesting shit. I feel like
Makes me feel smart.
it
when I
makes
want-
you feel smart. Dude,
Actually, I listened to Neil deGrasse Tyson's Star
I
Star
can't
Talk.
listen to him, man.
I just love when he actually brings like instead of just celebrities, he actually brings like real scientists and they just talk about
Right.
theoretic stuff like that. Because then it's like this is stuff I really would like to listen to.
Yeah.
Because usually if it's like a celebrity, it's like I'm plugging my next thing. Look at me, I'm cute. Whatever.
Right,
You know?
look at me, I'm
Well, that's
cute
why
is a big
that's why
one.
Joe Rogan's show's so great because he doesn't necessarily start them off like, "Hey, what are you plugging?" He goes like, "Hey, have you heard that new thing about space? It's crazy." And then they go off on a tangent for like 45
Right.
minutes, and then they come back around like, "Oh, by the way, I have an album coming out."
Right.
Right.
Which is, I think part of what I'm trying to accomplish with the podcast is for the guest. What I'm trying to accomplish for them is giving them a chance to bond with me,
Yeah.
giving me a chance to bond with them, and then letting enough conversation to go by so that listeners or viewers can see their personality,
Yeah.
connect with them, and
Yep.
then if they do, they go, "Hey, those guys are fucking cool.
That's
Maybe I want to
exactly
check out
what I
their
mean. Yes.
thing." So it's not just like an hour of like, Yeah, so we basically recorded this in an
I feel like
Adobe
that those are the
house.
most boring podcasts, and
Yeah.
I try to steer people into like, stop talking about your album. Let's talk about something like that you like or whatever.
Yeah,
and then,
stop
This is
sniffing
about-
your own farts.
yeah, and
basically.
those lead to other things. But when I've had a few people who just want to talk about their project the whole time, and I'm like, that's cool, dude. But
Yeah.
you know, no one wants to hear that for 45 minutes. They want to hear like a fun conversation about buttholes.
Well, for some reason that is
Yeah.
still fun.
It's weird when my
Or
guests are really
north
tight
of
about
it.
buttholes.
Yeah, or north of the butthole.
North of the butthole is
Oh my God, the Psychic Wave podcast, north of the butthole. That's gonna be the tagline.
that's your new
north of the
tagline.
butthole.
There you
That should
go.
be our next album, Bundy, North
North
of the Butthole.
Well, I'll give it to him. I'll let him have it. I'll have it south of the vagina. How about that?
Well, I mean, I think you're right. I think that when you just have, not to dumb you guys down, but like people who don't know you, they're gonna be like, this is a band, right?
Sure.
But when like Talon of Newton's Darkroom came on yesterday, he talked about his project 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But I don't think as a listener or a viewer you like can pinpoint him exactly to what his project is. So I think that
got a weird one.
that one was pretty interesting
Yeah.
for him to talk about the whole time. You know, we stuck to mostly one subject, but you know, no offense, but when a band comes on, people are going to be like, this is a band.
Right.
Right.
It's not like these guys are
Right.
shooting fire out of their ass or
Right. And people don't want to hear about how you recorded your album or
they don't know
unless there's like an interesting anecdote.
they don't
really.
give a shit about the studio,
Right.
who produced it.
Dude, my number one
unless
advice I've ever
they're
gotten in
already
life.
bands.
My number one advice: no one gives a shit about your band. Kill your ego.
I've been telling people that recently because I heard you
Probably
say
heard
it.
it from me.
And no,
I've been saying that to myself the whole time. So.
It's true.
But
That's how I survived.
I mean, I always felt that way, but it makes sense, and it's a good way to not feel so badly when people don't respond to your thing as well.
Sure, that too.
It's just like, I think the way that you put it that I liked it was that you said nobody's gonna care about your stuff as much as you.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense.
Johnny has
Nobody
one.
cares about my guitar as much as I do.
Yeah.
If that shit gets stolen, my heart breaks. Some dude in the next room doesn't give a shit.
Right. Yeah. Luckily, you have a friend that cares about you enough, though. Tiff.
That's true.
Shut
Shout out
up.
Tiff.
We should make a podcast just called Shout Out. Like when we get
Shout
together,
out.
it would just give people shout outs.
That's the whole episode.
Johnny has a
That'd
really
be like
good
an
piece of
Adult
advice.
Swim like commercial.
Yeah. Johnny has a really good piece of advice that I have been taking to heart lately, which I'm blanking on it. What is it, Johnny? That I always bring it up. That you
Oh, you're only worth what you can offer.
you're only worth what you can offer. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that I think that's just from my Asian parents, basically. You know, it's like I even for me, like to do a life of being in entertainment and not taking the cliche route, I got a lot of resistance for that. But I'm so much more satisfied where I'm at now.
Right.
Even though I have my own struggles and everything, but I'm doing fine. And
How much did you pay to fix your air conditioning?
I had $2,000 today.
$2,000.
Dude, our central air conditioning, which is why I have that little unit down there, has been broken for 3 years now.
Yeah.
During the
Because
summer,
it's so expensive.
I leave. I just leave
yeah.
work because I'm like, nope, I'm leaving and I'm going to a pool, and I do that. But
we were lucky enough for Johnny to have gotten that fixed before the summer heat has been really going to hit.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have air
I've
conditioning.
this happened actually towards the end of actually in the middle of when we were recording the
The
album.
end of August.
Yeah.
I
like
put $800 of my own money throughout the last 3 years trying to get somebody to come by and fix that thing. Nobody.
It cost him what, 200 and something just to get someone out.
$230 just to inspect it.
Yeah.
And I spent a summer. I
ridiculous.
ripped the thing out. I got the manual. I ripped the thing out. I ordered stuff online. I tried to replace it myself. It was working for a week. It worked for a week,
Oh.
and then I'm like, so proud of myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I fixed a fucking air
Yeah.
conditioner.
They paid
you know?
dudes to do that.
And then I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's blowing hot air. It's blowing hot air.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it
That
sucks.
sucks.
But it's still broken. It's still
Yeah.
broken. Not that. It's just one of those stupid ass fucking.
The
things.
summer's coming. It's Southern California. It's fucking hot. It gets hotter every year. It's bullshit.
It's global warming, man.
I don't believe in global warming.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, the point is, you got to leave them wanting something, right? The mystery box.
Yeah. How do?
You know about the mystery box? Tell them about
Is
the
that the
mystery
mystery?
box. You know the mystery box?
No.
So there was a TED Talk with the guy who did the Star Wars movie and the Star Trek movies. What's his name?
J.J. Abrams?
J.J. Abrams. So he does a TED Talk where he talks about this box when he was a kid. He was given a mystery box. It's just literally like anything could be in it. No
Yeah,
idea.
It's the Pulp Fiction suitcase.
Exactly. So he never opened it since he was a kid. Never ever opened it because
Mm-hmm.
the mystery of what it could be is better than actually
What it
finding
is,
out what
yeah.
it is. So
Yeah.
that's how he makes every single one of his movies. Is he doesn't have an answer, to be honest, but
Yeah.
he makes you feel like
Well,
there's something there.
Movie wise, there's a lot of that pisses me off. If that's the main thing, like there's no resolution to the
Right.
movie, not even character emotional resolution, that
Yes.
pisses me off. But I understand what you're saying. You need to
In
give
terms
them something.
of like music or
Sure.
I don't know, personality even, don't necessarily give everybody all the answers.
See, that's the hard thing doing podcast is like you don't know my personal life, even
No.
if you listen to 1,000 podcasts. But you'll have a pretty good idea
Yeah,
of
your
unless
personality,
I'm a liar,
you know? Yeah.
So that's yeah, that's hard for me. Like the number 44, they came on here, and I was like, "So number 44," and they're like, "No." Well, one of the guys was like, "No, I'm not going to explain that to you. I'll tell you after, but I won't explain it to you on the
Ooh,
podcast."
Really?
Okay.
And we got drunk and I forgot to ask, but the other members of the band were like, "He's the only one who cares about that. We don't give a shit.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
just tell him."
Yeah.
But his thing is,
I feel we had the
wants to
same kind of
be
thing with the name Bundy because a lot of
mystical and-
people would ask, "Oh, is it because of Ted Bundy?" You know,
Or
Right,
Al
that's the
Bundy,
go-to.
or King Kong Bundy, yeah.
or King Kong Bundy. Yeah, sure. Then the unfortunate truth is the reality is much stupider than you would
some
think.
cartoon character, right?
No,
Wait, no.
I
Yeah,
can't say.
No, but
Because
you
now
did
we're in
say.
no, I have said it before.
right.
But now we're on the subject of not revealing things, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
Right. But if anybody went
Is that
back
your
and
mystery
listened
box
to,
now?
there's a mystery box. It's called Your Mother's Vagina. I don't know what's down there.
A vagina.
But south of it is the asshole.
Yeah, I'd love to know. Yeah.
I didn't know that you that like the vagina could rip to the butthole.
Yeah.
During pregnancy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never
Do
getting
you know
pregnant.
that your dick can rip to your butthole if you put a knife in your
With
urethra?
your switchblade comb?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
I did know that. I actually one time it was raining and my mom locked me out of the house for some reason, and I was like 10 maybe. It was rain. Okay, it wasn't raining when she locked me out, so she's not like super evil. It was like a sunny day, just started raining randomly, and I knew that the back door was probably open, so I hopped the fence, and it was raining, and my foot slipped, and I just totally nutted it.
Whoa.
I looked down and it was just already like gushing blood.
Oh.
And I was like seconds away from fainting.
Whoa.
But, I held it together until I ran inside. And nothing happened to my dick, but I gashed like a section out of my leg. Like right next to my dick.
I see. Very
You know,
close. Close call.
Yeah, but you'd have to be pretty exact to hit my dick at that age. So,
Yes.
so I had some room for error
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, because you
But-
used to stuff your dick up your butthole.
Yes.
Yeah. It's called tucking.
I actually have something called an inverted penis.
Uh-huh.
Some people call it a vagina.
Uh-huh.
But
Or mangina?
vagina. Have you seen those pictures of clits that are like totally just like a
Yeah.
pinky? Holy shit.
They're like on the verge of hermaphrodite, but not, I guess.
I have not seen
But it's
those.
just the clit. It's
Yeah.
not like,
But whoever's listening or watching should Google that.
Yeah.
man.
Do it.
You're gonna. If you're already curious and you're gonna.
I just want them to look it up and then DM me.
And then send you the picture?
No, don't send me the
It's
picture.
odd.
Just
It's something that you
tell me what
like
it
don't
is.
think you'll ever see in your life, and then you're like, oh, that's what a half penis, half vagina looks like.
Yeah.
It's not
Okay.
even like, oh, that's a small penis. It's like it's just.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you're still
awkward.
young. You know, you have a lot
there's
of
a lot to
experience
see.
ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. One day you'll go to Mexico and someone will say, "Hey, I know of a great bar that we can go to," and the rest is history.
I already saw
Yeah.
Clerks. It's okay.
Clerics.
Clerks.
Clerks.
Dude, I have
Clerks
a lot
too.
of weird vocal things that I do. Sometimes I sound
Yeah.
really like Western.
Yeah.
I do that a lot. It's
Well,
weird.
I think I have experienced the same thing as you, where I will listen to my recording and I will be like, "Oh, I said that really fucking weird."
Mhm.
Just comes out weird sometimes.
Everybody passes it.
Yeah.
They're just
Because you have
weird.
two thoughts in your head sometimes.
Mhm.
You have the present one and the future one.
Mine was Clerks and Clarks.
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 Have you ever heard of quarks?
Okay. Reel it in here.
Sorry,
Reel it in here.
Sawi.
So, Bundy the podcast.
Yeah, you can find that on iTunes too.
So yes, you can find it on iTunes.
Yeah.
What's your what's your favorite podcast you've had so far?
My favorite one so far. Gosh, they're all so good.
I know.
They're
But
like their
Honestly,
babies.
I think I even had a conversation with him about it this morning. It was the one with you. It was the first one.
There's a special thing to the first one, or anything that you do differently. It's
Yeah.
always going to be.
It was the first one, but also Johnny was saying that it was like the most natural of the ones that he's listened to. I think
I
it's
do have a
because-
podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like people will come on and they're musicians. They're not like spoken word artists. So I remember
Spoken word artist.
what's that band with Kelsey from Slice? She was in Sanguine Night. No, what's the fucking name of that band? I can't remember.
I think I was singing.
Anyway, so this band comes in,
Yeah.
and they're just like, they're a little quiet. They don't know how to talk on the mic necessarily, so they're like,
Sure.
"Hi, so I play guitar." Like it's just like really quiet and weirdly. So it's one of those things where
It's
like,
actually probably going to be louder for people because you moved in when you did that.
Oh.
Because you're so natural at making sure your voice is at the same volume.
yes,
But yeah.
yeah, it's very quiet when they talk
Yeah.
like this. Anyways, so and getting people who are naturally able to just come out of their shell and have a conversation is kind of hard. So like your job as a host is to get someone who normally would not talk about themselves at all,
Sure.
and you have to get them to tell you their darkest secret.
Yeah, that's hard. And I knew on your podcast I wanted it to be a good one for you, but I also didn't want to make it seem like I was trying for it to be a good one. But we're friends, so it was easy. But
Thanks,
I mean,
buddy.
like I talked about Tess, and that was a big thing in my life then. And she listened to it, and she was like, "Hey, I listened to that podcast." And I
What
said,
a roller coaster this has been.
you know what I mean? And it's like you know, if you're friends, which we are, I would tell you anyway. But
Yeah.
also, you've got to know before going into a podcast what you're comfortable with
Was saying, yeah.
And
Yeah.
some
Probably
people
good.
haven't had that conversation with themselves yet, so
Yeah.
they get confronted and they're like,
I feel like I'm
What's
open
your
to
stance on
talking about
religion?
almost anything.
I feel like when you guys did the first podcast, it felt like you weren't even doing a podcast. I felt like you guys were just having a
"You know
conversation.
what? That was
or
such a
something.
fun day, though,
We-
because
We drove around for like an hour.
well, like to go off on your point, it didn't seem like we were doing a podcast, but like we had a lot of time to hang out before.
Yeah, we
we got into
we talked
it.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
some
I went
stuff
to your
beforehand.
work.
Yeah.
You showed me around your work.
Yeah.
I'm not usually in Long Beach during the day. We were doing our own things. We met up. We hung out for like 2 hours before we got into it. So we were like already opened up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though I know you guys, you came in here and we started this in 30
The
minutes.
best part of a podcast is the last 10, 15 minutes because that's when people have been talking for a while. They open up.
I always think on mine after 20 minutes starts to get better.
Yeah. So when I first started doing my podcast, I took your advice and told myself, just talk to them for 20 minutes, cut all that shit out at the beginning, and then eventually bring up their band. So like in the middle of
warmed up by then.
after about 20 minutes, be like, so Slice the band or whatever. How are you? You know?
That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah.
So Bundy the podcast.
Because they're warmed up by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm like the opposite because I'm an extremely extroverted person. Like I'm willing, like if you want to talk
You
about
have-
like my
you blew
past-
your
bluish
load at the
green
beginning.
hair.
yeah, I'm down to talk about whatever. And I think that's why I feel like I would make a good podcast host because I love meeting new people. I
Right.
love talking about just whatever the fuck all day. I could do that all day.
That's kind of, it was satisfying to me as well because I feel the same way. I'm an extrovert. I like talking to people. I like meeting people. And I think at a certain point I was like, well, I'm probably going to do something art related or else I'm going to hate myself. So how can I take what qualities I have and use it in entertainment? And talking is something I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, you found your niche.
Yeah, which happens to be a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Podcasts.
Yeah, well,
Like it's
some
not
people
some kind of special.
have podcasts and there's like the people who are just be able to casually talk, and then there's like very scripted podcasts, and those people probably couldn't have a real conversation like you're having.
Well, yeah, probably most of them. Yeah. But like Talon, that dude is a talker.
Yeah.
That dude's a talker. And
Yeah. Well, anyone can talk about themselves for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't like talking about myself.
Yeah,
Ah,
I
okay,
can,
that was an
but I
exaggeration.
can,
But
but
I'm
I
an
definitely
introvert, though.
don't like to. It's like I like to, but I feel bad after.
Like sex?
I never feel bad.
No,
beer?
I usually feel better after.
I guess it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only had sex
you-
with God.
Tess, do you listen to his podcasts?
I do.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
How many have you heard? He's got almost 50 out now.
This is
I'd
48.
say like a third of them I've honestly listened
A
to.
third?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
There's a few where I've like scanned through.
Sure.
What's he saying?
Yeah.
I think she
It's
listens
weird
to
listen
to the ones where it's either a really hot chick or
Can you
people
tell
she
through their
knows.
voice if they're hot?
Well, I post pictures. I got the Polaroids.
Ew.
Oh, I got
Okay.
the Polaroids.
Yeah.
That's a thing that hasn't been said since the 1970s.
Yeah.
Serial
Did you fuck
killer.
that chick? Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I got the Polaroids.
Now that's like on the camera phones these days.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
My girlfriend hasn't listened to a single one of what I put out.
But she's been there during them.
Yeah, sure. A few of them. Yeah. But I think it's interesting because why the fuck would she give a shit about my conversations with some stranger? You know what I mean? Like, she
I
doesn't,
don't think
she doesn't
you-
care about the bands, and she hears me talk all day. So why the hell would she want to listen
Right.
to it?
But I don't think that you don't actually talk about her that much when she's not around. You know what I mean? So I don't think she has this like preconceived notion in her mind that she should be listening to what
Well, a lot
you
of people
say when she's not around.
A lot of people. That's funny that you say that. I don't talk about her very much, is because a lot of people actually sometimes don't know that I have a girlfriend, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Because we're not like that kind of couple. You know what I mean?
No, you're not, you know.
PDA.
Yeah.
Walking in the park.
We don't PDA. We don't like hold hands.
Went to the beach.
We don't. I mean, we hold hands and we in private.
Sure, yeah.
But like 90% of the time, if we're out in public, we're not gonna be like
Thank you.
showboating.
Well, I think you both coexist very well. Like
I was just saying, it's nice that you listen to his podcast, Rachel, who's never gonna hear this. So
Yep.
that's cool. But you
Yeah,
guys
no.
are on a roller coaster. What's next?
What's next, Tess? You gonna get me
Yeah,
pregnant?
tell me.
You're gonna get pregnant
I don't know.
from your butt vagina or your back
my
vagina?
butt vagina.
Your butt vagina.
Dude, that's a great band named Butt Vagina. What?
Butt
That's like that reminds
Guarantee
me of,
that's a band.
Fart
Guarantee
Barf.
that's already
Fart
taken.
barf, yeah.
Fart barf.
Is that a real band?
Fart barf. Yeah.
They're great.
Fart
too.
Barf? Oh, they're fucking
Great
amazing.
live, yeah.
Yeah, they're one of the best bands I've seen. Like my top 5 list of bands I've ever seen live.
You guys need to check out the number 44.
Okay.
They do a really good live show.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, you guys have a good live show.
Yeah.
Iris has a good live show.
Spirit Mother actually
got-
asked us to play a show with them in the number 44 for their album EP release tour
Yeah,
that
the
they were
split
doing.
release, they just finished that.
We
on
just couldn't do
Saturday.
it because we
Sure.
have,
Yeah,
you know,
you guys are busy.
schedule wise, couldn't do
Good
it.
bands are busy.
Yeah.
Just say yes.
Well,
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Spirit
Sure.
Mother's really cool too. You should check out his Jammin' in the Van. They have a violinist
I've
playing.
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I
pretty
watch
good.
I watch everything.
It's cool.
Like if you're
cool.
a band and I have interacted with you, I've seen your shit. I've heard your shit.
Mhm.
And if I haven't messaged you, maybe I don't like it. I don't know. I don't have to like everything.
You know what's funny? I had the idea. I mean, we've been trying to do this for a month. A month's been passed since you started the podcast. And I had this idea that like we were gonna have more to say about what the podcasting experience was like.
I have a lot to say.
I know, but I also feel like you know that I probably know what it's like
You
as
have
well.
you are more experienced than me at the podcasting thing.
No, but I just mean that like really what could we say to each other that we're not just gonna be like, yeah,
Well, what could we
that's
say?
a thing.
What could we say that would be interesting to other people to hear? Really?
Not even that. I was like wondering if something. Honestly, I do want this to be interesting for other people, but I'm thinking like, what is there that Nani could have experienced that like I don't also feel, besides maybe specific to which guest
Mm-hmm.
comes on.
Yeah.
We both do podcasts. We know how it.
Sure.
We
yeah.
get it.
Yeah. There's obviously you have the guest that gets too drunk on your show.
Mhm.
You have the guest that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
You can have a guest that
I've had some quiet ones, and that
Yeah,
makes me
quiet
feel
ones.
so uncomfortable.
Yeah, what really sucks is you're getting past this now because you've been on close to 50. What number is this?
48.
48. Okay. When you first start and you don't know how to make a room sound good, and it's just like
Oh,
you can
yeah, dude.
hear the room.
That just happened recently.
Yeah. So we have a fairly large space,
Yeah,
and
but our podcast sounded good.
yeah, but when I listen to it, I can hear the room
Me
still.
too,
Yeah, and
but-
there's tricks that I'm learning. Like where you are on your microphone, like you're actually way farther than I would ever let you be on my podcast.
This
You know what I
is this is actually your mic,
Yeah.
and it's different than those. I'm standing
Yeah.
back for a reason.
So normally on my podcast, I would put my mouth way the fuck up here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, your podcast does have that sound to it though.
These sound things
My podcasts
help
are
a lot.
quiet, quieter
Yeah.
than
Oh,
yours.
I got to show you how to use a limiter.
I know how to use the limiter.
Mhm.
It's just
Compressors?
I don't like doing the compressor because I
Okay.
get more of the room sound in there
Mhm.
than I like
Sure,
when I do
yeah,
the
yeah.
compressor.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll show each other. That's gonna be.
There's a
boring for
lot of
whoever's
tricks that
listening.
we're both gonna learn,
Yes.
alternatively from each other.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we'll share them. I'll
Well,
share
I
them with
think
you.
honestly, after podcast, whatever the one. So I did one with Jackie Cohen, which
Mhm.
is probably my favorite podcast I've ever done.
Okay.
I drove out to Los Feliz to Dreamstar Studios to go
Mhm.
do that. And because it's a recording studio, the sound was so perfect. And she was so sweet. Just so many things added to that being my favorite podcast,
Mhm.
right? But then the next podcast I did was with somebody else who I was really excited to do it with, Sarah Tudson from Illuminati Hotties. But it was the podcast right after the one that sounded perfect. And
So you had high expectations.
yep, and I had different mics than this.
Mhm.
I didn't have anything catching sound.
Mhm.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Great content, horribly recorded.
Yeah.
And so that was maybe podcast 28
Can I say,
or
though,
something.
that-
So, but I'm just saying like this like the sound it's taken 30 podcasts
Yeah.
to even get it
Dialed in.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's tough.
Yeah. Definitely is. And I was gonna say, oh shit, no, now I forgot. It was something about the sound. Doesn't matter.
Sex.
Doesn't matter. You're doing great, man. I fucking love it. I listen to every episode like the second it comes out. No joke.
That's crazy. I don't know how you do that.
What do you mean? I have all day at work. Like when I'm at work, I'm just sitting at a machine. I'm either watching YouTube or listening to a podcast.
You know what's funny? I totally get a high from when you mention me in your podcast. It's fucking
Aw.
crazy. You know, it's because I was having a real. What's the one? No, I was having a just shitty day where I just was like, I'm not gonna do anything today, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna wallow in my own filth.
Yeah.
And then I throw on a podcast, and at the very beginning, I think you heard me on my last podcast because you actually listened to mine.
Yeah.
Say that like, dude, I'm getting fucking wrecked out here.
Yeah.
Like I'm dying.
Yeah, I was feeling for you because
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
And then you gave me a shout out and you were like, just keep doing it. You're doing something really good. And it was like actually a good motivation. It was
nice.
it
Very
was a
cool.
pick me up.
It's nice to know that someone was listening.
See,
and
the
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is,
you're
true.
shouting,
the
yeah.
thing is, dude, we are doing the same shit.
Mhm.
We're friends, and we're both having the same struggles and shit. So it's like,
Yeah.
of
You
course we're gonna
understand.
support each other.
Yeah.
Like even if it's just a quick little shout out or whatever. But like messaging you like, hey man, you should use a limiter. You should try compressors,
Right.
things like that. Or even just giving you that fucking box right there,
Mhm.
and then
Leaving a
obviously
mic.
I forgot the mic, but can you
Oh,
borrow
I
it?
think you left Mike's stand as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's Louis. I think. Well, anyways, the point of the story is, we're part of like our own little network of like two guy network.
Two guy
So,
network.
Yeah, and
the podcast network.
yeah, but it's literally like you're in Fullerton, I'm in Long Beach,
Yeah.
and maybe at some point we'll meet a third guy who's in LA.
I really want to.
They'll probably be too cool for this though.
I
Yeah,
want
probably.
Mike to start a podcast
Mike
from Iris.
from Iris. Okay,
To me, that'd be the perfect.
it would just be one-liners
Perfect.
the whole time.
Dude, I took that guy. That guy. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'm making it seem like he's a dirtbag or something.
Uh-huh.
I
But
told that fucker.
I told that fucker, yeah. So I bought tickets for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard for me and all my uncles like 3 months ago. And I have 3 uncles, 2 by marriage, right? And
What's the third uncle by?
Proxy.
he's my mom's brother.
Oh,
Oh.
man, I was opening up a joke for you, dude.
No.
Like, oh, that uncle? We don't know where he came from.
It's
No.
like my mom's brother from another mother.
No.
We call him uncle, but he's really the old guy that used to take care of me.
Yeah.
No, but they're all about the same age. I'm about 10 years younger than them, but we all fucking get hammered together.
Sure.
And we all just show each other music and just party, right? So I'm like, look, I'm going to buy these guys tickets. We're going to go out. We're going to have a great time. And 2 of them bailed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've got kids. They've got serious shit going on, whatever.
Sure.
So one uncle was able to go. I told him to give his friend a ticket. and then I invited Mike, and then because I knew Mike liked them like a lot. And dude, as soon as we're drinking in the car, we're getting hammered. He was already hammered when he showed up to the.
He pre-gamed.
Yeah, he pre-gamed because when I told him that I was gonna have an uncle come, he was like, "Oh, we're not
Probably
gonna."
not drinking.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like
And
uncles.
I was like, "No,
I had an
we're getting
uncle,
fucking hammered."
and my uncle and I didn't,
Well, so that's what he
I was
thought.
trying to get to the my uncle touched me joke, but go on.
Got it. But we were getting hammered in the car. We were hammered when we walked in. We took shots when we walked in. We got beers when we walked in. And then 2 seconds, like getting into the show starting, Mike looks at me and he goes, "Hey, bro, like, thanks for these tickets, but I got a fucking mosh, dude. I'm gonna see you later." And he was going the whole night.
Right on though.
And
right?
and he found us at the end of the night, and I made this joke where I was like, "Yeah, dude, he had to work some shit out in the pit.
Yeah.
It was his therapy."
Yeah. Yeah. His therapy.
Yeah,
Oh
his
shit,
therapy.
very nice.
But anyway, that dude's crazy, and he's the LA area, so I'm hoping.
Did he get a bang over?
A head bang over?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Just
know.
a little crick in his neck.
Yeah.
He actually slept.
Shout out to Derek for that one. Derek, my old drummer, for that
Bang over?
bang over.
No, we had breakfast together, and
Oh, what'd you make?
no, we went to Charlie's Best down the street from here.
Charlie's Best. Shout out Charlie's
Dude,
Best.
I'm there all the time, and because I'm not eating cheeseburgers this month, they're gonna lose like at least $1,000.
What are you gonna eat when you go there?
I'm not. I'm just planning on eating a lot of tacos. You know what I mean?
Have you
somewhat
heard of a
healthier.
salad?
Salad.
A salad.
Salad.
Have you ever had one?
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Salads are.
If you like marijuana, you'll
Ooh.
like the greens in this as well.
It's packed bowl.
Yeah.
All right,
are
guys.
salads dank?
We're at about an hour.
Cool.
So if there's anything that you guys want to throw in to
we're
promote
gonna put a
Bundy?
new single out soon.
no way.
Yeah, we recorded a single at a studio in Santa Ana. I'm not sure exactly when we're gonna film a studio or
Is
a
this the
video
one that's
next week.
a cover?
It's a cover song.
Okay.
Yes, and
keeping
I'll
the
show you
mystery
when we're
box.
done.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna play we're gonna play it July 10th at the 5 Star Bar in LA with Sounds Like Disco and Television Generation, and then
You're the 21st at
again,
Alex's?
yeah, 21st at the Alex's Bar, the Alex's Bar,
The Alex
with a band from Japan called ROA.
Mhm.
They're touring, and
Cool.
hopefully that'll be rad. What else? Podcast.
23rd?
Listen to our podcast too after this one.
Yeah,
Check it
Bundy
out.
the podcast.
When is this
really
out?
Good podcast. The audio will be up tomorrow before noon.
Okay, well,
Video will be up tomorrow before 8 p.m.
tight. Listen to it on Wednesday because I'll have a new one Wednesday. So the next day,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you got Mike coming on.
I
the
do.
13th.
He's coming on next week, the 13th.
Yeah.
Did he tell you when he's coming?
He told me
That
when he's
little
coming.
fucking sneaky trick. Yeah, he's coming on, and then we have a band practice immediately afterwards. So he's gonna have to get drunk while we play, I think, and then we're gonna hang out. I actually, you know what? Why don't you come out too, and then after we rehearse, we'll go out and party.
Sounds good. I think we'll talk after.
It's on a Wednesday, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I just want to thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Nani.
Hold my hand. Take my hand.
Hold my
Wait,
hand.
3-way.
3-way?
Give me your hand, Johnny.
This way.
No. Cross the arms.
There. I'll go give me
This
left.
isn't.
This doesn't work this way. Namaste.
I could have done it my way too. I was just gonna.
Nah,
Whatever. Fuck it.
That's the gay
That's
way.
more of a church way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say thank you for kicking ass with your podcast because it took me all of May to figure out how to not kill myself, but also push myself.
Yeah.
And that was because, a little friendly competition. I was like, if Nani's booking podcasts a month out, I got to be booking
That's what I'm
podcasts.
saying. It's
You know-
that motivation.
But now July or June, fuck, I'm so... See?
You're already a month ahead.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking I got to book July. But June, it's every other day.
Okay.
I got some time.
I'm booked
I
all
gotta-
the way to August.
Don't tell me these things.
I'm booked-
Now you gotta one up him.
I'm good a month. I'm good a month.
I'm booked 3
Stop
nights
it.
a week.
Stop it.
At
He's
least
booked until
in July.
2020, so.
Yeah.
I had a day where I had 4 podcasts back to back, and then
Wait,
the
in one day?
No. So 2 in one day,
Yeah.
and then so it was 5. 2 in one day, one after that, and then one after that.
Sure. That's
It was
fun.
not fun for me.
It's fun.
It was not. I mean, I loved it, but man,
Don't. I'm telling
Anyway,
you. Cut the video out.
podcast is over. Podcast is over. All right, that does it for the 48th episode of the Psychic Wave podcast. I really encourage you to go right now to the Bundy podcast. It's on iTunes. You can find it there. If you're listening on iTunes already, just use your app and go find Bundy the podcast. It's an amazing podcast. I really respect and trust what Nani says, and I think you will too. He's a great person. Thanks again to Nani and Johnny of Bundy for coming on. You can find them on Instagram, and that's at Bundy LBC. If you want to follow me, it's at The Psychic Wave, or my personal account, at Andrew Sanishyn. Sanishyn is spelled Sanysshyn. And you know what? I'm actually going to say, Nani does this thing, which I absolutely fucking love, and maybe like when I was younger, it would have pissed me off. But every time he says my name in his podcast, he always changes how he says my last name. So my last name is Sanishyn, and he'll go Andrew Shang Chang or Andrew Shanshine or just something. And that wasn't meant to be racist in any way. My last name is Russian, but it fucking cracks me up because nobody can pronounce my last name right the first time around. So I don't know. It's funny little things like that. He's a good dude, good friend of mine. And please go check out their podcast. And at the very least, go see a live show of theirs. Live show is fucking amazing. I've been to 4 or 5 now in the past year. And I wish I could make every single one. Anyway, enjoy your day. See ya.